Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month's Wednesday webinar. We do this every third Wednesday of the month, and we just love to invite one of our wonderful vendors to come take a deep dive with us into one of our collections in the library. Today, we're very lucky we have Jessica Gradetzi here with Sage Publishing to walk us through Sage Premier Journals online database. This is a cross-disciplinary database available to all UAGC faculty and students through the UAGC library. So before I hand things over to Jessica to show us more about this wonderful database, I wanted to make sure everybody knows how to get to Sage Journals Online. This is great if you want to follow along on your own screen. And here I will turn my video off so you can see the full picture here. This is our library homepage. And of course, you can get to the library anytime through your Canvas course page. And once you are at the library homepage, from the Library OneSearch screen here, anytime you want to get into a specific database in the library, I recommend, there's a couple different ways you can do it, actually. We try to provide many ways to the same information as possible. But I find the most direct route is to go to Find Articles and More. This takes you to our databases list, where we've got them split up from A to Z, databases by subject or databases by type. If you know the database that you're searching for, then I recommend databases A to Z. In this case, we're looking for Sage Journals. And keep in mind, we have several products from Sage, like Sage Research Methods. We also have another product of theirs called CQ Researcher, if you're familiar with that. But for this demonstration, we're going to be going to Sage Journals Online. And if you click that, it will open in a new window right there in the Sage Journals database. And you can always check and make sure anytime you're in one of our subscription databases, you should see somewhere at the top that it says, I have access via Arizona Global Campus. Now, one thing to note, we started from that Library OneSearch homepage of the library. Sage Journals is one of the many databases that we have that Library OneSearch will actually search for you. So if you are doing a search on a specific topic in Library OneSearch, you can actually filter your results for Sage Journals by using some of the filters available to you. And if you did a search for a topic, then your results will automatically include resources from Sage Journals. The Library OneSearch box is sort of our search engine that searches most of our library databases at once. So with that, I will hand things over to Jessica. Thanks for being here.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much, Karen. Let me get situated here. And it's asking me to send a request for sharing, Karen. So I don't know if you have to
Thank you. I
change.
just clicked you should be able to now.
Oh, awesome. Let me
Sorry about
try
that.
again. No, that's okay. Thank you so much. Okay, hopefully you can see my slides. Do you mind confirming?
Looks great. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much for having me today, everybody. So, like Karen mentioned, the purpose of this session is to review this wonderful resource that you have access to, which just has a lot of potential to supplement your instruction, your own research, and of course, the work and research of your students. So, I'm going to start us off with a little, let me get my slides progressed here. I'm going to start us off with a little introduction to Sage, what we refer to as the Sage story, in case you haven't heard that before. And then we'll go ahead and transition over to the Sage Journals platform, where I will go over navigation and the functionality that you can take advantage of there, you as well as your students. And I know that we have people here today from various departments, so I have been sure to include examples of content for different disciplines as well. But like Karen said, the offerings from Sage Journals are so multidisciplinary. We really have excellent coverage and representation for all different disciplines and subjects. And I'll definitely show you how to find those different disciplines. But ultimately, my objective for today is just to help you feel more confident in knowing what it is your library subscribes to with Sage and also how you can actually find it. And I expect my portion will take about 30-ish minutes. And like Karen mentioned, we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end as well. So that's what we're doing today. Let's talk about that Sage story that I mentioned. So, pardon me, guys. I'm just going to grab some water. Okay, so Sage is an independent publishing company that was founded by this woman. This is Sarah Miller McCune, and she founded Sage in 1965. So this actually is a picture of her in 1965. She was 24 years old at the time and founded Sage with $500 in startup capital in New York City. So Sage is now a global publishing company with offices around the globe. And while Sarah is still involved actually in the company today, she has now passed her shares of the company onto a trust that is charged with maintaining our independence indefinitely. So that means that we cannot be bought or sold, and it means that we are not beholden to shareholders. So we can continue to focus on our mission, which is building bridges to knowledge. And it also means that we're free to think long term. All of the investments that our customers made with Sage go right back into the development of future resources and new content to support the needs of librarians, faculty, and the next generation of students and researchers as well. So there is a lot to be said about the history and influence of Sage as a journal publisher, but I thought it might be most useful to keep this session focused on the practicalities of navigating and browsing and searching the content. But I did first also want to share some quick highlights. And it's really just to share with you some titles that you could quickly access and explore so you can get familiar with Sage content. So this first slide, as you can see, our highlights are Sage's #1 disciplines by number of ranked titles. So criminology, education, industrial relations, material science, sociology. This is where Sage ranks #1. Then the next slide I provided is where we are a close second. And these are our STM disciplines. So I won't read them out loud for you, but I'll just keep this up so you can view that for a second. But these are also STEM areas where we excel as well. And then this last slide of highlights are these are the titles that are in the top 5 of their categories. And again, I'll keep this up here for just a second so you can view these. And while that's up on the screen, I'll just quickly mention that there are quite a few ways to move around in the platform and find content. So I'm definitely going to be showing you how to do all of that. But as I'm sure you know, you can always search, like Karen mentioned, and just to reiterate, from the library homepage via that search bar um, where you can search across all the content in your library. But of course, today we are focused specifically on Sage. So let's go ahead and take a little tour of the platform, and I'll hop on over to my browser really quickly. Okay, and just so you know, I'm actually logged into your instance of your access. So everything you see on my screen should be stuff that you will have access to as well. So I just want to make sure to mention that before we get started. Okay, pardon me. So once you do click on Sage Journals from your A to Z database list or wherever you choose to enter it from your library page, this is where you will land. And like I mentioned, you have a lot of options from here. So I'm just going to start from the top and we will work our way down the page. So you'll probably notice right away a prominent search bar with a link to the advanced search page. So let me actually go ahead and click on this, and then we'll come back and look at the other browse options. Now, the reason I did want to show you this advanced search page, which I know you're probably all familiar with, but it's just because I think it actually is nicely annotated for students and new researchers. And what I mean by that is we have these search tips that are listed on the right-hand side. So especially our newer students, new students to college, first-year students, novice researchers, maybe don't know a lot about information literacy and how to actually perform searches. And so right at the top, these tips, we see some information on Boolean searches. What are these? We can use Boolean operators and, or, and not within search fields. And it also has a little bit of an explanation there. And you can see some additional tips here as well, how to search for authors, how to search for phrases, employing quotation marks, how to employ wildcard symbols, and even searching for DOIs. So again, I just wanted to point this out, with the students in mind. Yes, it does have all the functionality that we expect from an advanced search, like being able to search by title, author, abstract, citation, pardon me, all those things when a journal was published. And then we have this little bit of extra guidance, which can be eye-opening and useful for our novice researchers. So we'll head back to the home page now and check out some of those additional browse options. And first thing we can see is we can browse by these kind of broad disciplines listed here. So we can choose to browse journals by the health sciences, the life and biomedical sciences, material sciences and engineering, social sciences and humanities, or we can also choose to browse all SAGE journals. And I will go ahead and click on one of these just so you can see where that actually leads to. I'm going to click on the social sciences and humanities here. So from here, you can see it's listing out all of the journals that fall within this discipline. And obviously you can see this is a lot of journals. This is 821 that we can browse through right now. So this would be a good opportunity to employ the filters that we can see on the left-hand side over here. So you'll see we can select by discipline, which we already did. We chose the social sciences and humanities. But if we decided to if we wanted to explore a different one, we can choose a different one from that drop down as well. And then we can select the subject within this discipline. So this is really handy because this is how we can narrow down our focus significantly. And I'll just kind of scroll down here so you can see this extensive list of subjects that are listed here. And it's a really good way to also just see the breadth and depth of the coverage within this database as well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and select research methods and evaluation to narrow down my search here. And you can see right away that it did significantly focus our search. Now we're looking at 29 journals instead of 821. So this is now not so overwhelming to browse through these journals. And for our example right now, I'm just going to go ahead and select a journal. I'm going to do evaluation review. I'll click into that one. Pardon me. So we can see what this looks like. Okay, so as we talk about the homepage of this journal, I also want you to keep in mind that these options and navigation menus are common across all of the journals that we offer. So you can expect the same functionality to exist on any journal that you click on within the Sage Journals database. Okay, so, evaluation review. Now, I happen to know that this journal is one of our most read journals in evaluation, and this one particularly focuses on the design and analysis of evaluations, the results of evaluations, and also the impact of evaluations. Now, like I said, we are here on the journal homepage. So from here, we can actually view a lot of information and it's laid out pretty intuitively, I would say. So right away, we have an introduction to the journal, but then of course we have what we're actually interested in. So we can browse the journal from here. The current issues, we can actually view online first articles as well. These are articles that are published online before the actual physical issue is published. and we can also browse all issues. And then over here in these browse by options, we can see the most recent articles. We can browse by most read articles, and these are the most read over the last 6 months. We can browse by most cited, and this is the most cited articles published in the last 3 years. We can also browse by most trending, and this refers to those articles with the highest altmetric score, which, if you're not familiar, it's essentially a way to measure online attention. So it's measuring influence beyond traditional citations. And you can click on this link, by the way, to learn more about what altmetrics actually are if you're interested in reading about those. And then our next menu over here is the journal information, and this just contains a wealth of information about the journal itself. So we can view, let's go ahead and click into the journal overview and metrics from here. Uh, so there's a lot of really useful information here, especially if you're perhaps collecting informations or doing research on journals that you may want to publish with. So first of all, you can see we have some quick metrics listed here at the top, like the number of days from acceptance to publication, the acceptance ratio, the official impact factor, as well as the 5-year impact factor. We also have these handy tabs where we have the mission statement listed. Sorry, guys. I have gotten a cough attack this morning. The mission statement, we also have the aims and scope listed here from the editors as well. We have a more extensive accounting of the metrics regarding this journal. So things like impact metrics, which includes the JCR, Scopus, and Google Scholar. We also have the readership and some information regarding peer review and production as well. And then finally, we have the abstracting and indexing tab that lists where this journal is included. So we make it very easily available, the editorial board as well. Go ahead and click on that link. So this includes information on the co-editors, the associate editors, the consulting editors, as well as the social media editors. And for those who are looking to publish, we always include these submission guidelines on the journal pages. Let me click on that next link here so I can show those to you. So this is a very valuable resource for any of you who may be looking to publish, things like how to prepare your manuscript for submission, how to actually submit your manuscript, the peer review policy, what happens after acceptance, and all that good information that you might potentially need. And then you'll see a few more options listed here as well that I think are not particularly useful for this session today, but if you're interested in reviewing those, you can see we do have the options to explore more information about reprints, journal permissions, how to subscribe, how to recommend journals to your library, even though in this case, you know, you already have access to this journal and many, many more. And then, of course, more information on advertising and promotion. So what else can we see from this sidebar over here? So first of all, we have this, pardon me, guys, gotta grab some water.
This is great, Jessica. I recently was helping a doctoral student, and they were looking around at different journals to, perhaps publish in, and we just sort of kind of stumbled on this information. I wasn't actually aware that this was part of the Sage Journals database, and I was just blown away by how clearly it was presented, and the student just found exactly what they were looking for. Just sort of to dip their toes in the submission process. It was really nice to see this. So thank you for sharing this with us. I think
Oh,
it's
yes.
something, just sort of a corner of the collection that we don't often highlight for students. And it's important that they know how to find this information. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. That's so wonderful to hear. And I actually, we don't usually do, or I should say, I don't usually do trainings on Sage journals, or it's a rare circumstance. So I actually had not been in the platform in a while. And this was newer to me as well. So I think Sage is definitely recognizing the value that especially grad students or those who are new to publishing, the kind of help and the support that they need. And I think they've done a really wonderful job providing that support. So I'm so glad to hear that, Karen. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, let's continue on and we'll look at a few more options we have over here on the side. Let's see. Our next window down, this is the keep up to date window that I'm referring to. This is where you can set up to receive email alerts. You can see it listed here with the latest table of contents or when new articles are published online. So if you have any journals that you are particularly interested in following or making sure that you want to stay up to date, you can find this handy dandy box where you can sign up to receive those email alerts. And then let's see, I think the other box might be on the other page here. Let me get back to the evaluation review homepage because there is one more thing I want to make sure to mention. Oh, yes, there it is. Is that what I want to talk about? The Sage Journal Author Gateway here. No, that's not what I want to look at. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second here. Maybe it disappeared. Okay. Well, I'm gonna move on, but there was something, and I'll try to look for it. Maybe it's down here. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second. Don't see it. Okay. Well, I'll skip that for now. Sorry to tease you guys. I'll go ahead and move on so I don't waste any more of our time.
No
Uh,
worries.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
Jessica.
you. Yeah. Okay. So we're back on the Sage Journals homepage here. Let's go ahead and check out an actual article. So for now, I'm just going to click on current issues so we can start with that. So really just a couple of things I want to point out from here, and that is that we can both view the article in this online space in the HTML version by clicking on the, of course, hyperlink of the title or oh, did I get signed out? It looks like I did. Oh, I love having so many technical issues when I'm in the middle of a presentation. Sorry, guys, please give me 1 second while I try to get signed back in here. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the evaluation review homepage. We'll get back to our current issue.
It's,
Okay.
we actually love when things like this happen because
Uh,
it just normalizes the experience that most of us have sometimes, I mean,
yes,
these
yes.
things happen. So thank you,
Never
Jessica.
perfect. Yeah, no
It's
problem.
okay.
Okay, so what I did want to mention was, like I said before, yes, you can click on the link and you can view the HTML version of the article, but I also did want to be sure to show you you can also download the article as a PDF or EPUB file. And I'm going to click on this really quickly just so I can show it to you because these are not the PDFs of old. They are incredibly functional and organized. And so you can see this nice little menu over here on the left-hand side. And I just want to point out a couple things here. And and I particularly like this outline option, which brings up the outline for the entire article. So it just makes it incredibly easy to navigate and to see all of the different sections of this article really quickly. And then we can also view all of the materials in this article that will include figures, tables, media, supplements are accessible from these as well. And then finally, we can get the links for the references and also cited by in this case. So some really super functional PDFs um, for this content as well. Um, oh, I keep looking for that window that I saw yesterday when I was preparing this presentation, but I guess they switch them up every once in a while. So my hopes are dashed again. Sorry, guys. Okay. And then finally, let's see. Our next option is those online first. I know I mentioned this very briefly before, but I just wanted to expand a little bit on what that actually means. So, Online First is a feature offered by Sage that allows final revision articles to be published online before they're included in a final print or online journal issue. So, that essentially means that researchers and readers can access the latest research findings more quickly without waiting for the complete issue to be compiled. So the major benefits are that, of course, faster access to the articles as they're available online sooner, providing that quicker access to research. There's also, from a publishing author perspective, there's increased exposure that early online publication can lead to greater usage and earlier citations. And also, there is persistent identification. So each article is assigned a DOI, ensuring that there's a permanent link to the content. So that feature is just particularly useful for researchers who want to stay up to date with the latest developments in their field. Okay, so let's talk about this all issues option here because this will bring up an important point as far as how far back your access actually goes. And generally speaking, with your institution's access, you'll have access back to 1999. So, for example, if we click into the 1990s and I click on 1998 and I click on an issue, you'll see that this is locked. You have this little locked padlock and it says restricted access. That means we don't have access to that. But if I go to 1999, and I'll give that a second to load here. Sorry, I did notice my internet's been a little wonky lately. And I'll click on an issue. You'll see that it has the green open padlock, it has available access. So this is where our access is beginning. So just to reiterate, and just to hopefully that's a pretty clear illustration of how far back your access goes. And just to reiterate, by the way, you do have access to all issues back to 1999. So it does include the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s up to current as well. Okay, that's a pretty thorough look at what it's like to navigate through a journal and browse through the articles of that journal. So I'm actually going to take us back to the homepage now so we can view some other browse options as well. And as I'm going to do right now, we can quickly back, I did that kind of fast, but to quickly get back to the journal's homepage, you can just click on that Sage Journals picture wherever you see it, and it'll take you back here. Okay, so let's check out our next option for how to explore content, and that will be these discipline hubs that you'll see listed underneath these more general disciplines up here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on here so we can explore these discipline hubs. So these are really nice because they're quite a bit more specific than those very general discipline areas that we saw before on the homepage. Um, for example, I'll just go ahead and click on, let's do business and management. So you can see what this looks like. So from here, it's really nice because we can search across all of the Sage Business and Management journals from here. So it kind of has a built-in filter in that we're already filtering for business and management content. And then the editors have also made some selections of top picks of either special issues or journals that they particularly recommend. And then we can also browse some articles from here as well. So we have general business and management in this case, we have economics, marketing, hospitality, and travel, and also our open access journals. And then just like kind of a display of some of the popular business and management journals. So, and we have these for all of these specific disciplines, and you'll notice there's two tabs at the top up here. So we can browse the humanities and social science disciplines, which is what these are, and we can also look at STEM. So that's how we can browse via these discipline hubs. And then there is one more I want to show you, and this is my favorite way to view journal content actually, just because I think it's so interesting. But there's a couple different ways that you can find it. So right now we're back on the Sage Journals homepage. And if we scroll down a bit, you'll see this section called You Might Be Interested In. And I'm going to point you to the Sage microsites. And then I also quickly want to show you a second way to find it, which is no matter where you are in the platform, if you're reading an article, if you're looking at a journal homepage, you can just scroll all the way down to the bottom and you'll see this collection of links. And you'll see Sage Microsites is linked there as well. So let me actually show you what these are here. Pardon me. So what these are kind of specialized pages within the Sage Journals platform that focus on specific topics or themes. And these microsites provide curated collections of articles related to particular subject areas. So they're designed to help researchers and practitioners quickly find relevant information and stay updated on the latest developments in their field or related to these specific subjects. And these microsites are often related to really hot topics in the news. I distinctly remember the announcement of the COVID-19 microsite, for example, when that first became relevant worldwide. But as you browse this list, you'll see just how relevant these topics are, not even to any specific discipline all the time, but just a kind of a multidisciplinary social scale. So let's go ahead and click into one. I'm going to go ahead and click into artificial intelligence. Pardon me. I can tell you this has definitely been a topic of interest, especially in the past year or two, in my conversations with librarians and faculty. And SAGE is certainly aware of the impact that AI has had in the academic space. So this is really nice because it brings together articles really across the disciplines, but all having to do with different aspects and elements of AI and the different questions that using AI raises, both philosophically and ethically and technically. So right at the top, you'll see special issues have been listed here by the editors that you can flip through and access really quickly. And then beneath that, we just have listed some of the most recent research articles published by Sage listed there as well. And also some recommendations for related journals. So journals that kind of often publish content on this subject area. Um, let's see, anything else I want to mention here? Not really, but I do love browsing these microsites. And just to reiterate, I do think the simplest way to find it is just to scroll down to the bottom and under the About section, you'll have that Sage microsite link. Okay, there are a couple more things I want to be sure to point out before we open it up for questions. The first thing is actually the benefits of creating a personal profile. So once you are here, once you've arrived in the Sage Journals platform through your library, then you can see this little figure at the top that says Access Profile. So if you click on that, you'll see you can create a profile if you haven't before, or you can view your profile. And I'll go ahead and sign in here so I can show you what this looks like. Okay, let's go back to, oops, view profile. So there's a couple benefits that I think are especially useful if you create a personal profile. But the main benefits is that you can set up alerts for things like new issues, uh, for new article alerts and citation alerts, and you can also choose how those arrive to you, how those are formatted. And then the other thing a profile lets you do is it lets you save searches. Now, I just created this dummy profile this morning, so I haven't actually saved any searches yet. But when you're on the search results page, you'll see a really obvious button that says Save Search Results. And then you just have to give your search a name and click save, and then it's saved here to your profile. So it's a really nice way to be able to access search results again without having to redo a search, which is especially helpful if you have a lot of search parameters, or maybe you're in the middle of a search, but then you have to go pick up your kid from daycare, and you want to be able to jump into your work again really quickly. So those are the main benefits, I would say, to having or creating a personal profile on the platform. And finally, the last thing I want to be sure to show you has to just do with additional resources that you can find on the platform. So again, if we scroll down to the bottom of the page to that collection of links that I pointed out earlier, I want to point you to the information for section. And this has a ton of information for, as you can see, all these different user groups down here. So whether as an author or a researcher or reviewers, whatever the case may be, I'll just go ahead and click into, actually, what might be more handy is if we do for information for researchers. This is really handy because it has a nice FAQ specific to researchers in this case, where we have some common questions that you could get quick answers to. And then there's also a much broader, kind of bigger FAQ that you can access, where you can view a lot of that information for these different members, different user groups at once. And you can also view some most popular articles. So I clicked on that kind of quickly, but that was the frequently asked questions link at the bottom there. Okay, guys. I know that probably felt like a lot, but that's everything that I had to share. I'm happy to open it up for questions. Or Karen, were there any questions in the chat that I can help answer as well? Oops, I think I see you talking, but you're muted.
I turned the wrong thing on.
Yeah. Okay.
I went for the video and not the microphone, but that's okay. I'll leave my video on since we're at the end
Okay.
anyway. Yes, what I was saying was I just had a comment about how great I thought the microsites were and how that would be a great thing for us to add to some of our course specific research guides.
Oh,
You picked a
yes.
great one to showcase with artificial intelligence. We've got a research guide dedicated to artificial intelligence that I think that would go perfectly in. So thank you for highlighting that.
Oh, wonderful.
Um,
Yes.
I was wondering, I had a quick question. Well, I don't even know if I would call it a question, maybe just a good plug for your wonderful accessibility features, because I think
Mm.
accessibility, I know at UAGC, we've really made it a priority to get ahead of the WCAG 2.0 standards, making sure all of our information is accessible to students. I feel like, especially for an online institution, it's so important. So I just want to say you guys have been great partners with us, with making sure everything in your database is accessible. You're very responsive, and I love how the platform has a lot of great built-in accessibility features. I was wondering if you could show us where the accessibility guide is, because I feel like that's a great resource for students and for faculty as well. I know a big concern for faculty is, making sure that everything that they select for their course is accessible. So, I just want to reiterate to them that if we do find something that doesn't meet the WCAG standards, we do have a way to remediate that with you all.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen. That is wonderful to hear. And also, I'm happy to show you where the accessibility guide is. Luckily,
Thank
they
you.
make it pretty easy on the Sage platforms. All Sage platforms, including Sage Journals, has this collection of links at the bottom. And under the About section, you'll always find our accessibility guides. So we do publish a full accessibility guide on all of our platforms. But in addition to that, we also have a dedicated contact for accessibility questions as well. So there's a ton of information included here and that you can read through, but also you can always talk to somebody at Sage about it too. Um, Karen, one thing I forgot to mention that I just remembered was you mentioned you do have access to Sage Research Methods and CQ Researcher. And we were happy to do this custom session on Sage Journals today, but we do also have monthly webinars that are appropriate for faculty and librarians as well, that we provide for Sage Research Methods and CQ Researcher. So I can send you the link to that webinar schedule and you can disseminate as you like as well.
That would be wonderful. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, we're big fans. I mean, Sage is an awesome company, and you guys have just been great partners over the years. So thank you for coming and sharing with us today. It's always nice to have
Yes,
you.
my pleasure. I love to hear it. Thank you so much for having me, Karen.
Any other questions for Jessica before we give everybody some time back in their day? Thank you, Kelly. Thanks for attending. Let's see, another comment. Yes. Yes, Kira points out it's one of our highest used databases. So we really appreciate you being here.
Oh,
Thank you,
yes, of course.
Christopher.
Love to hear it.
All right. Well, with that, we will give everybody some time back in their day. Thank you all so much for joining. And I'll be sending out the recording with all the great resources that Jessica shared with us today soon.
Thank you, everybody.